Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. It is finally October, which means it's time to celebrate with some spooky games. So before things get too spooky, if you enjoyed today's video, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. So today's project is kind of interesting because it's actually a practice project for something else that I have planned for later this month. But we'll talk more about that later. For now, let's look at our game about literally hunting ghosts. The world is generated similarly to projects like our 2D version of both Content Warning and Lethal Company, meaning we take a bunch of simple doodles and convert them into data to create a randomly generated room of walls. And smack dab right in the middle, our player is spawned. Now this is a typical top-down style action game, so the player can move in any direction with WASD, and they can fire their weapon with both a left and right click. A left click fires a big old bullet, and right click fires a grenade. Bullets will shatter when coming in contact with walls, but will otherwise continue moving in their given direction until contact with a wall or ghost is made. The grenade, on the other hand, is a bit different. Not only will it eventually slow to a stop, but grenades also bounce off of walls that they come in contact with. They also cannot physically touch any of our ghosts. Now speaking of ghosts, these mysterious figures are simple folk. They navigate the world using simple gamemaker pathfinding code and toggle between moving and idling in one position for periods of time. Now as stated earlier, this is a ghost hunting game, and these mysterious figures are our ghosts. However, there is a twist preventing the player from simply eliminating everything in sight. See, the grenades that the player can fire don't damage the ghosts. In fact, these are simply ghostly smoke grenades that, when detonated, reveal our ghosts for who they really are. Each quote-unquote ghost is actually an unknown human-shaped figure that exists in the larger world of monochromatic mystery. And so not all figures are actually ghosts. And ghosts in this world do not have skeletons. The player is given hints as to which a figure is based on what their smoke grenades reveal. And so because this is a ghost hunting game, the goal is to eliminate ghosts and leave everyone else alone. Thus, shooting a non-ghost will result in an instant game over. Now the player has 90 seconds to find as many ghosts as possible. Again, assuming they don't hurt non-ghostly beings. Because again, you're a ghost hunter, not a human hunter. I mean, despite the animation that plays when the ghost is shot, it shouldn't suggest that you're hurting the ghosts. Actually, I wanted to do a Ghostbusters thing here, but I just didn't have the time. Anyway, once the time is up or an innocent ghost has been shot, the game over state kicks in and the player can retry with a new layout and another attempt at beating their best score. Now the concept itself isn't anything crazy. It's certainly not new ground for us here on Dev Diary, but the gameplay wasn't the focus of today's project. Today it was much more about the visuals. Now a while back I made a 2D Metal Gear game and I talked about wanting to do some things, but it just wasn't working out. So if you felt like today's project seemed a little familiar, well, that's because it's a retread of that project, but with the actual code working this time. The smoke effect that reveals the figure's insides was the main focus of this project. It's a mixture of multiple layers that all utilize a universal mask to create a single effect. In this case, it's been tied to GameMaker's particle system, so we could use it as a smoke effect. But this ability to basically quote-unquote cut into different layers was paramount in order to make a future project possible. So, instead of trying to figure all of this out in what little spare time that I do have, I built a game around the concept. So yeah, expect this concept to return later this month, with maybe more surprises to follow. And speaking of which, if you would like to play this game, a playable version has been made available for download to my Patreon supporters. So if you want to play this game along with a bunch of other games that I've released in the past, plus other exclusive content, and even get early access to the weekly Dev Diary videos, you can get it all by supporting me on Patreon. And if you're feeling generous, join the Legacy tier and cement your place in Dev Diary history, just like Zoom 1987. Anyway, this month is going to be interesting, and though nothing can be promised, there's a lot I'd like to get done between now and the end of the year. But that is the future. For now, what did you think of this idea? Do you think that we could build it out into something more? What kind of fun stuff could we add to it? Be sure to leave any and all thoughts in the comments. And with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.